Today's episode's a little different. It's just you and me today. And honestly, the timing couldn't be better because lately a lot of my clients have been getting knocked out by whatever it is going around. And actually, there's a number of different nasty bugs out there. And this has sparked a conversation that I think more people, especially women business owners, need to hear. You can use tapping when you're sick. Okay, it's not just for business growth. It's not just for mindset. It's for your body, especially when a nasty bug hits. And I'm happy to go there with my business clients because here's the truth. When you're a business owner, you are your business. So if something is affecting you, it's affecting everything. So let's talk about ways to use tapping for illness. I'm Nancy Linnerooth. This is EFT Breakthroughs. Let's tap. Okay, so what about when do you tap? Look, you can tap anytime you're not well. But honestly, the best time to head it off is when you just start to feel something coming on. Otherwise, you have to do a lot more tapping, like, oh, now it's really taken hold. I know how colds work in me. Everybody at the office had the flu for 2 weeks. Whatever it is, you'll have additional things you need to release if you wait until that whatever it is has really sunk in its claws into you. Okay? So as soon as you start to feel a little off, that's the time to pull out some tapping. And there really are 3 different ways that I'm going to talk about today about how to tap for when you get sick. And the first one's the easiest. It's the easiest to remember. It's the easiest to do. It might take longer than others, but it's really can be all you need. And that is to tap on the physical symptoms. So how you would do that would be notice what's coming up for you. You're going to tap on one of the symptoms. I don't care if you have 8 different things going on all at the same time. That's fine. Pick one to start. So maybe it's, I'm starting to get a little headache here. I'll tap on the headache. Or maybe it's, I got a scratchy throat. Let's start with a scratchy throat. Okay? So, and you would do it just the most basic way possible. Even though I have a scratchy throat, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though my throat feels scratchy, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I've got a scratchy throat, I deeply and completely accept myself. So you say that 3 times, tapping on the side of your hand, and then you go around the points tapping on this scratchy throat, this scratchy throat. And you can just say this scratchy throat, but you can also get into the sensations of it. Wow, it feels like I swallowed sand, or wow, it's just a little bit like extra hot. Some people notice it in colors. Wow, it's like there's this dark purple bruise, sore throat. Or it can be more like it's pulsing now. So whatever you're noticing, you want to bring that up. And you can use words, you don't have to, but if you speak it out loud, you're going to keep your focus on the symptom that you're working on. So you want to keep tapping on that, noticing what's going on, noticing if it changes. Well, it was like more of like the size of a quarter before. Now it's more like a size of a dime. And it's gone from that purple color to sort of like an icky green color. Oh, no, now it's getting more yellow. So you notice the symptom, all the different aspects of it while tapping, and you let them change and release until eventually you should get to a point where either it's gone, which is great, the symptom's gone, all the symptoms are gone, you're fine, great, go about your business, or that one symptom has come way down, but something else has taken its place as being more important. Oh, wow, okay, so I've not really noticed my throat now, but really what's coming up is this headache behind my right temple. Oh boy, I'm going to tap on that. And then you do exactly the same thing, noticing the aspects of it, tapping and letting them change. And then maybe that one collapses and something else comes up. Ah, great, now I've got this sort of like tight band around my chest. Okay, I'll tap on that. Whatever it is, you chase the pain. This is an old tapping tool that's been around for a long time, where you tap while noticing the different ways that your body is reacting to something. And I will use this often with clients for their emotional component of some aspect, some issue they brought to me. Sometimes will have uncovered the underlying block that is preventing them from what they want in their business, and it will come with physical sensations. So we'll add those into the tapping. But this one's straight about your body. So just tap on the symptoms coming up until you bring them all down to preferably all the way gone, if you've got the time for it. If you don't, bring them all the way down as far as you can. And then maybe you're done. Maybe it's all good. You've chased it away. You're fine. Or more likely, this is what happens to me more often, is I need to come back and do the same thing all over again in an hour, 3 hours, 20 minutes, whenever I notice the symptoms coming back. So as I say, this is really easy to do. You might have to do it multiple times. And frankly, when I'm doing it multiple times, at some point I just get so frustrated and impatient. I'm just like, fine, I'll just get sick again. So if you're not the patient type, you might want to do one of these other types early on. But I always start with this because sometimes it's the quickest and the easiest way. It's just to tap on the symptoms, chase the pain, bring those way down. Now, if that's not enough, or if you don't want to keep tapping and tapping and tapping a lot, you might want to go on to the second technique. And this is where you tap on an underlying reason that you're getting sick. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, I have found that simply tapping on the symptoms sometimes is enough, but sometimes I've got something in my subconscious that is telling me I should get sick. It's time for me to get sick. I found this with clients as well. Sometimes and this is a frequent one that comes up, they've got some sort of feeling like, well, I'm really busy now, and I just can't get sick. Well, that would be great. That sets them up to get sick. But it's more like, I'm so busy now, the only way I can possibly rest is if I'm sick. And then your body says, well, you need to rest. So by gum, we're going to make it happen. And it gets you sick. So that is an unfortunate rule to have. A lot of us have given ourselves that one without meaning to, right? So then you have to tap on that. Even though I'm too busy and I can only rest if I get sick, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I can only rest if I get sick, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I can only rest if I get sick, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, so then you tap on that belief. I can only rest if I get sick. Yep, I have to be sick to be able to rest. That's the only way I can possibly rest. And then you start with that negative message, that thing that you really don't want to have. You wish you didn't believe it, but it's somewhere it is in your subconscious, even though you consciously reject it. So you tap on that negative part, and then it's going to start to feel like it opens up. And you'll think something like, well, I suppose I could rest. It would be better to rest before I got sick. What if I let myself take a break this afternoon? I'll take an hour off. I'll spend 20 minutes with a nap. I will promise to shut my computer at 5 and take the evening off. I will go to bed early. You can look at ways that you can rest without having to get sick, right? But you have to start with I have to get sick to be able to rest, that message, to bring it down enough for these other things to really land. Okay, so that would be one way to do this. Now, I have had other kinds of rules that have gotten me nice and sick in the past. As a mother, particularly when my daughter was younger, she would get sick. And some part of me believed that, well, she's suffering, so I have to suffer too. And I'd get sick until I figured that was going on. Then I went after it and tapped and released it. But that was a powerful one. So if you have kids, consider that. Now, it's not just my daughter that I would do that for. Sometimes it would be my husband too. And it could be, he's suffering, I should suffer too. Sometimes though, it wasn't about suffering. It was more about like, well, now I'm doomed. He's in my environment. He's coughing. There's all these germs around. Of course, I'm going to get sick. And I would tap on that. Of course, I'm going to get sick. He's sick. I'm going to get sick. And then as that one started to open up, then I could see other possibilities like, oh, well, there's been times where he's been sick and I didn't get sick. Vice versa, times where I got sick, he didn't get sick. So it's not a given that I have to get sick because he's sick. maybe this time I'm okay, and he's sick because he wore himself out, but I'm okay, and I don't have to get sick. You open up those possibilities and you let that in. So that's I've got an underlying reason that is sapping my ability to fight off whatever this is. So you want to go for that underlying reason, tap and release it. So those are some common reasons that will come up for people. Try those out, see if those work for you. I'm too busy, I can only rest if I'm sick. My kiddo is sick, so I have to be sick too. Or my beloved husband, my spouse, my wife, whatever, is sick, so I have to be sick too. Or someone in my environment is sick, so of course I'm going to get sick. So those are some ones that can come up. You can also have some other things like it's been going too well, I have to be sick now to balance it out. I mean, you. Think about what comes up for you when you start to get sick. Oh, well, of course I'm going to get sick because. That's what you want to tap on. Okay, that's the second technique. The third one is kind of related, but it's a little different here. This is where you actually ask your body, well, what is this illness trying to tell me? Okay. You might have a message that the illness is coming on and it's trying to tell you, hey, you need to slow down. You're working too hard. You need to rest. You need to take breaks. It might be you need support. You can't do everything by yourself. That might be what it's saying. Could be, well, here's a way to figure out what that might be. So you're tapping and you're going to do something called fill in the blank, which I love to do with my clients. And if you've watched any of the other episodes, you've seen me do it. It's asking them to repeat what I say and then finish the sentence with whatever comes to mind. In this case, you would be saying, let's say you have that sore throat. If my throat could talk, it would tell me. Or the message my throat has for me is. And then whatever comes to mind, you let that out. And that could be what your body's trying to tell you. So let's say you have a gut ache, like, my stomach really hurts. Well, if my stomach could talk, it would tell me that teammate is my teammate is being poisonous, is poisoning me. Now, not literally poisoning you; it's a metaphor, but this environment is making me sick. That could be it. Like I need to change where I am, change offices, maybe. Okay, but you're letting whatever it is come out. It could be one of the ones we said before. Oh, my daughter's sick, so I have to be sick, right? That could be what comes out if I check with my stomach. Oh, interesting. Okay, and then you go on and you tap on it. But it could be something totally unexpected. It can also be sort of metaphorical, like I was going along with the I'm poisoned if your gut hurts. It could be this weight on my shoulder. My shoulders hurt because I'm carrying too much work, something like that. It doesn't have to be metaphorical, though. Just let whatever comes to mind when you say, the thing that this part of my body wants to tell me is, or the message this part of me has for me is, okay, and that's what you tap on. All right, so those are the three ways that you can tap on something like, I don't know, cold coming on, the flu, something, maybe a little food poisoning, I don't know. First of all, tap on the symptoms, chase the pain. Second one is dig up the underlying reason to be getting sick and tap on that. So the emotional reason, the subconscious belief reason, tap on that. And the third one is to ask your body, the part of your body that's being affected, what message does it have for you? Okay, and that works pretty well for these things like the colds and the flus and the sort of temporary things. But if you have chronic illness, that's something else. That can be something deeper. And for that, I highly recommend you find a practitioner who is experienced in finding these underlying causes of these big illnesses, or the ones that just keep going and going and never release. It can be, I know it theoretically, it can be things like, well, I deserve to be punished, or something that came up like I have to suffer to be a good daughter or something like that. It can be something that you developed early on as a child. One of these, the ones that comes up a lot is I have to be sick to get attention, or I have to be sick to be taken care of. Those are two I've seen come with my clients, even though this is not an area I spend a lot of time with. Sometimes it comes up. And that's just from childhood. They often had a lot of siblings and or their parents were otherwise occupied and couldn't pay them much attention. But dang it, they got sick and they got all that attention. And then that can lead to more illness throughout life. Even when you get older and you realize that's not the way I want to be. If you got it in your subconscious, you need to change it. So again, find a practitioner if that's something that you want to work on. And by the way, I am a big fan of using Western medicine plus tapping. I would never advise someone to just ignore the doctors, just tap. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're not a science experiment. Just go ahead and try everything, especially, Western medicine for that. Okay. But then, I have a friend who did that with her cancer, but then on the recovery journey, she used the tapping because she knew that there were underlying reasons that had led to it in the first place. And so mix and match. Okay. One more thing. As Freud is supposed to have said once upon a time, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Okay. If you get sick, this is not an invitation to you to blame yourself or shame yourself. Oh, it's something I said, something I internalized. It's all my fault that I'm sick. Life happens. Illness happens. Sometimes it happens and you just need to, get yourself through it, and that's okay. There's no reason to blame yourself for it, even if you have one of those underlying rules like I can only rest if I'm sick. Even if you've got one of those, there's still no reason to blame yourself, get mad at yourself, or shame yourself for somehow having done something wrong. Look, we all go through life doing the best we can with what we got. And this kind of rule happens to a lot of people, but now you know better and you can release it if that's what's happening to you. So, remind yourself you didn't consciously choose it. Your body's just trying to get you what you need, and you can tap and release that. Or if it's not that sort of thing, it's just illness happens, like, oh well, then go ahead and take care of yourself. Okay, so again, those 3 ways to tap was to chase the pain, tap on an underlying reason, or ask your body for a message it's trying to give you, and also take care of yourself. I don't know, rest a lot, get plenty of liquids, get the soup that makes you feel better. Do what you need to get better and feel better. Okay? And if you know someone who could use this message, please share this episode with them, especially the women business owners who know it is a hard route for us to take. We could all use some support along the way. Okay? Take good care and happy tapping.